It's almost been a year since, oh, what a mess at DIA. A snowstorm caused a lot of chaos for airlines. Bags were everywhere, not with the people they were intended to be with. Passengers are stranded, and more than 2,000 flights were canceled around the country. Flyers also faced trouble with United this summer. Severe weather along with staffing shortages were to blame for some really long days in June when you're saying, what? There's no snow here. Another round of holiday travel is, well, it started really. So we wanted to know what you know about your rights while traveling.
So we brought in our 90s legal expert, Whitney Traylor, to join us. There's been, seems like a lot of litigation surrounding flying in the last couple of years that we really haven't seen before. So we need some insight.
Yes.
Like, what's been going on?
That's very true. And it was funny because when we decided to do this, I went back and looked at my notes in Evernote, and I had about 7 or 8 different notes on various issues with the airlines. So, I mean, it goes back to legislation. This summer, there was bipartisan legislation that passed to make things more consumer friendly. Frontier had a bunch of deceptive trade practice issues. Southwest, as we know, had the major issues. Southwest also had issues with breastfeeding and the Healthy Family Workers Act, which is a new state law. And so a lot of it was related to refunds and customer service. Even though I just listed out a number of independent things, the airline industry just really took a hit these last couple of years. I really related to the pandemic too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you feel for them because they lost a lot of people when the pandemic happened too. A lot of people chose early retirement and they lost a ton of money. But federal regulations changed a lot too, kind of to protect the consumer.
I think so. There was both. There was the bill that I mentioned. So Congress passed a bipartisan bill that made that boosted hiring of air traffic controllers, and it modernized some infrastructure and things like that. But the Department of Transportation, really under Pete Buttigieg, he's been phenomenal. I think really not making a political statement, but just from what he's done since he's been at the DOT. I mean, they've gotten regulations, the industry's tightened up. I think he's made a real difference. So those regs, you know, and speaking of those, people can go and look at those regs because as it related to luggage, the refunds, the customer service, they really have put the airlines' feet to the fire.
Well, and let's talk about some of that stuff as we're like gearing up for the holidays. A lot of us, myself included, have already, you know, bought tickets to go home. So as a consumer, what rights do I have? I feel like I shouldn't even put that out into the universe.
Because you went through it last year.
Right. But just, you know, a chance, a slight chance that something could happen. Then what are my rights to rectify it and make it right?
Well, and it's very fluid, so it's hard for me to say, well, X, Y, Z, but I can say sort of in categories as it relates to luggage. So if you have lost luggage between 5 and 14 days, they have to refund that. If they cancel the flight, you are entitled to a full refund if it's the airline, you know, regardless of the reason. And then, of course, what we learned last year was that various airlines had their own policies that they were discriminately applying. So, you know, some people got a full refund. You were saying you got a partial refund. All these other things. So part of that was the airline's policy itself and their implementation. So now there's, you know, for example, staying on the tarmac. You can only be on the tarmac so long if there's a delay. And I started to see that, and I didn't get a chance to look into the regs to see if this was something specific, but this summer I flew extensively and internationally, and there were about 3 flights where we were on the tarmac for a certain amount of time, and it was almost like clockwork. They opened the doors, they let us go out, they had snacks, and all 3 folks did that. So I deduced that there must be some kind of regulation or some push to give people a certain, if they're on the tarmac, a certain amount of time. So I would say, look at the department, start with the Department of Transportation in terms of what the latest regs are. And it's super consumer friendly. The website, it's user friendly in terms of luggage, travel, all those issues.
You got to be your own advocate. You can't just complain. So
it's very true.
That kind of leads us to the fact that people do get grumpy, just anyway, period. But there's also, for the people in the airlines, it's awful when they deal with some like unruly passengers, violence, everything like that. They have been, you know, if you do something really stupid, you're going to be in big trouble.
That's correct, and thank you for mentioning that, because all the other issues the airlines are dealing with, now you got these unruly passengers, which I guess we should be pointing at each other, because we are the, you know, it's us, the citizenry. But yeah, they had to start dealing with the unruly passengers, and so they have The DOJ now is getting involved. The FAA has moved to a zero tolerance, but they can only impose civil fines up to $37,000. So they're looking at this, and now, of course, you're having planes turned around. The FBI is getting involved, so there's heavier criminal prosecution, and of course, you end up on no-fly lists as well. So
Yeah, it's
As they should. They
dangerous.
should do all
You
that
should.
and above. When,
Yes.
adults are poorly behaved and kids are acting better on planes, that's a problem. And that's been my
That's for sure.
experience as
I
of late.
know.
Seriously.
no, it's really true. And
A toddler can be better.
Yes.
Seriously. I mean, and that's a problem.
Yeah, and when you look at how it stems, it always starts from some kind of a verbal, not always, but the stats are showing that it's these sort of small kind of situations, and people just get irritated to the
And a
point
little
that they
bit of
can't
alcohol.
control it. Oh, well, the alcohol probably too, yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, everybody calm down when we're
Yes.
traveling this.
Holiday season is upon us. We want
Enjoy the
good
friendly
vibes
skies.
only on these planes,
There you
everyone.
go, right.
Thank you, Whitney.
Good to be.